to the Apollo Podcast Network. 3, 2, 1.
Playoff week continues, and we are back with our playoff specials here on Beyond the Diamond Podcast. Brian, LaLima, ApolloDez here with you. Follow us on Twitter at BLima790 and at ApolloDez1, and of course at ApolloHOU. And as we continue to bring on the best guests in the city, we have none other than Mr. Wooston himself, Josh Reddick, the Georgia Bulldog. Josh, thanks for taking some time with us. We understand you got a twins birthday party this weekend. So again, man, thanks for your time. How is everything, man? How's the health? How are the kids? How's the family?
Everything's great. Obviously, with the way baseball worked out, didn't really go the way that I expected or wanted to, but gave me a lot of extra time with the family and the kids, which is fantastic. The boys just turned 2 years old. We're having their birthday party on Saturday, so we're having some family and friends in town, so that'll always be either fun or hectic. You never know what you're going to get when you have family in town. So y'all think of me this weekend. But my wife and I are running around like crazy trying to get the house ready and everything set up. But everything's great. We just got back from Hawaii, so just kind of running around with our heads cut off a little bit, but wouldn't have it any other way.
On those big waves, you got to love it. Josh, obviously the city of Houston, you were with us for so long in this golden age, and they love you. And everything about that. But as a baseball fan and as a team head, I got to start off with 10 years of service. Obviously, is a huge, huge thing in the league. You hit that. It's an incredible milestone. A lot of people don't even get the opportunity to hear their name drafted and then go through the grind, but then to make the show and be there for that long and your success, one, congratulations on that. But two, kind of walk us through the average fan that's, listening in right now, because I don't think they understand and see that how big of a milestone that is for you guys.
Right. And I appreciate it. First off, thank you. It's very special, very honored, very humbling experience to be in such a small percentage of people who have been able to accomplish that. But yeah, I think I've talked to a lot of guys about it, outside of looking for a World Series win in your career. I think that's what's mostly strived for in this game, because, that is our retirement. That's our retirement fund. It's our 401k. And, once you get to that 10 years of service, you're set for life to get that pension. And I think that's what everybody shoots for in life, regardless of what your job is. So right. Yes, we may make millions of dollars at some point in our life. And, but the one thing that we've learned in this world is everybody usually tends to live above their means. And that doesn't change for us. We buy these expensive cars, these expensive houses, expensive jewelry for some people. So having that to fall back on when, I think it's 62 when you can pull it out fully. So it's just something that we can have as a crutch to lean on later in life. And then you get to have that magical little gold card that gets you in any ballpark for free +1. So that's always a fun thing to get at 8.5 years. But when you get to that 10 years of service, I think that kind of helps you out in regards to not win. If you can't win a World Series championship, then I think that's the second best thing you can get as a big leaguer.
Amen.
So when you come out of a COVID season and with the difficulties with that, no fans, you're having to get daily checks and things like that. And then you come into a normal season, so to speak. For you, it really wasn't normal. What was the mindset coming into 2021? I mean, coming out of that off season, were you still continuing to work out every day? Obviously, you had aspirations to continue to play. It just didn't happen until later on in the season. Then you get picked up by the Diamondbacks. What was the mindset? I mean, for a guy that spent so many years in the big leagues, coming in without certainty if you were going to play in 2021?
I'll be honest with you, straight out of the gate, it pissed me the heck off that I couldn't get a job, because I know deep down that I am better than probably over half of the outfielders that had starting jobs this year.
For sure.
And that's what's frustrating about the way the baseball is going. And it may sound personal and selfish to a lot of people who may not understand what really goes on in the baseball world, as opposed to guys signing for millions of dollars and just playing a game. It's not like that. You see this non-competitive unbalance, I'm going to call it, because there are so many teams that aren't trying to compete in the big leagues, and it pisses you off.
Yeah.
For a guy like myself who is striving for winning, I've won most of my career. I've been very lucky for that. And that's one thing that I take pride on, is I've been on some teams that win, And I feel like teams could have used a guy like me, maybe not an everyday outfielder, but, I could have played 3 days a week and been a great clubhouse presence, I thought, and just bringing my track record of winning, I thought should have brought me a decent job, and it doesn't anymore. And that's what sucks about baseball now is it's going such that way to where you have 10 to 12 teams competing, and your other 18 are just getting the young guys a shot, which and on the flip side, I can appreciate too, because I was a young guy once. I want guys to have that opportunity. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it's about me and me getting a job and supporting my family and wanting to play the game of baseball that I love so much. And it really did. It really pissed me off that I couldn't land a job for so long. And like I said, I know deep down that I am better than a lot of guys that were out there this year. And I think that just dug a little bit deeper into my pride.
For sure. Josh, when you talk about, the young guys and the shift to baseball, I think you came up, and we'll dive into the JUCO bandit life and all that. But I do have a question. You kind of came up in the span of this old age of baseball into the new age, right? Your career and the analytics and all these numbers being thrown. As a hitter, we all obviously played college ball. We never got to the show or drafted, but I was a guy that loved getting data, but not like the day of. I like getting a little bit, okay, I know these tendencies of doing that. With the new shift in age, how did you adjust? Were you a guy that loved this data, loved all this stuff, or just, hey, I know my approach, I'm doing it, and I'm rocking and rolling from there?
I hate all the analytics in baseball.
Thank you. Thank
you.
Finally, finally, somebody that agrees with me.
The only kind of stuff I will use pretty much is what I've used all the time, and that's video. I use video, and a lot of guys can sit there and watch videos for 2 hours a day. Whereas for me, I'll go in every day and I'll watch the starter, but I won't watch like what a lot of guys watch. Are like, oh, his strikeout pitch. What is he getting guys to swing and miss on? Well, my belief is, first of all, we're going to start to see how he's done against Josh Reddick in his career. And then we're going to watch how I got pitched that way. And then we're going to watch this season stats. So if I wanted to watch, say, let's go, for instance, Jacob deGrom's the first one that comes to mind. I know he's pretty basic because he's over dominant. Let's use a different guy. Okay, John Gray from the Rockies. Facing John Gray, I come in, I'm going to watch video of me against him in my career, and then I'm going to watch his 2021 starts against lefties only. And it's usually just watching what he's given up hard hit or what he's given up 4 hits from lefties that year. And that's what I'll watch. I'll watch basically dig me videos of other guys doing well off of him. And that's how I want to go, because that's what I want to see, where he hangs his slider or where does he leave his changeup. And looking at a piece of paper may tell me that, but it's not going to get me the feel of how the ball breaks. And yes, we have all this horizontal, very vertical drop, blah, 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 spin rate. Just tell me tell me what he's throwing most of the time and where he's throwing. That's all we need.
Let's go up and hunt.
I'm looking for a fastball to get my damn foot down, and I'm looking to hit the shit out of it.
Hell
Dude,
yeah.
Thank you. Bro, this has made my year. Fuck everything else. Josh Reddick and I have the same opinion on analytics and stats. I'm a guy that I can't talk about it enough how much I hate analytics. And I get it how it's a part of the game these days. But man, you either have it or you don't, go up there and hunt a pitch or look for
Everybody's
pitch.
Different. Everybody's different.
Right. But for me, I'm on the same page, man. And I catch so much shit from guys because they call me, they say that I love quality at bats, right? So I coach a 12U team for the Banditos out of Tomball. And I tell my kids, when I'm coaching, just say, you don't have to get a hit, just go up there and give me a quality at bat. And that's the most basic thing that I can tell these 12-year-old kids. And then guys in our Apollo group chat, I just catch so much shit because they're like, oh, Brian doesn't like OBP or OPS or like they come out. What's the crazy one? It's XBA or X WAR and all this. And I'm like,
I couldn't even tell you what they all mean.
Yeah, I know.
When you start adding math into it, it's just like, look, I was 1 for 3. That's 33. That 333.
That's a Hall of Fame day. That's a Hall of Fame
right.
day.
Yeah. See, that's another thing that I preach to my kids. Like, you can't get mad because you can't get mad
for all our viewers.
There we go.
That.
That's beautiful right there. God, I love an October day. October day in Houston.
That's it. Yep.
But to go back to what you were talking about, Josh, when you couldn't find a job and you were frustrated with yourself, at any point in the beginning of the season, because I myself was very, very, very critical of the Astros outfield. And you don't have to tell us, but, feel free. At any point did they contact you? Did you have any talks with maybe getting a spring training invite or a start in the minor leagues and, hey, work your way back up for your locker room presence? The outfield is kind of, I wouldn't say in shambles, right? You had Michael Brantley, you had Kyle Tucker, but the center field position was not good for a while. Let's just put it that way.
Right. No, there was actually zero talk. Whenever we addressed that with them after the season ended, James Clegg told him right out of the chute that there was no reunion there going to be. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's a business, and I understand how stuff works. And, these guys have a fantastic player already now in Kyle Tucker. And I think that he's just going to get better as he gets older. And I hope that he becomes a guy that, kind of becomes a franchise player and wins an MVP. And in my personal opinion, I think he's got the skills to do it. I really hope he does. And if I'm on a personal level saying I got followed up by an MVP, then so be it. But I know that Kyle is a very good player. He's a good kid. He got a right head on his shoulders. But there was there wasn't really any kind of talks. And it was funny because the only team that I kept in contact with that would have even given me any kind of a spring training invite were the Yankees. And told them no immediately.
Yeah. Good.
And the Cardinals wouldn't give me the invite because they were running out their they had a young outfielder who was under the Rule 5 thing or whatever, and they wanted to see what they had in him because they've had Luke Voigt, who they lost to the Rule 5. They lost Randy Arozarena to the Rule 5. Yeah. And I want to say there was one more there, but they just they didn't want to commit because what they told me was they knew that Mike Schilt, I think his name is Schilt, the manager, is a huge veteran guy, and they knew if they brought me in, he would pick me, which was like cool. But they said no because they wanted to give this kid a shot, and I think he ended up being hurt, and not having a good year, and then I think they just kind of ran with it, and they weren't really trying to compete. From what they told my agent, they were just like, "Oh, we're too far out of it." Now look at them; they're going to the wild card game. So, good for them. Happy for them. I know that it's they're a good ball club, a lot of good guys over there. I know Goldschmidt's a good guy, and he and I actually talked. And he actually, when I was first in Arizona, he came up to me when I got to first base. He goes, "Man, we'd love to have you over here in right field." I said, "Well, good, because I'd love to be over there with you guys."
Oh yeah,
yeah, oh yeah.
But it just didn't work out. But the one thing that kind of kept me going this year is I got kind of a player assessment from inside scouts and sources that they told my agency that I was rated as a below average outfielder. So I took that personally, and I'll quote Michael Jordan on that on his E60.
Yeah.
I took it personally, and I actually have my own weight room here at my house. So I wrote it all over the wall. I wrote it all over my mirror that said below average and not good. So I wrote it in big letters to help motivate myself, and had all these kind of things to light a fire under my ass, man. But you know what? It's how it is. I've been under the radar player my whole life, all the way back to middle school and high school baseball. So
yeah, let's you got drafted JUCO kid, 17th round. Obviously the JUCO life. I mean, we talked about it with Tyler Ivey. We talked about it with some other guests. Hey, it's war. Every strength and conditioning coach thinks they're like a Navy SEAL, and then like they put it on the team in the steroids. Yeah.
Bro, Winnie and Deca is just flying around JUCO. I'm telling you.
It's wild that these guys think they're SEAL Team 6. Man. I'm like, dude, I just want to hit in the cages. I'm not treading water with a cinder block. So what's some stories about that life?
Oh man, same scenario. I got a lot of JUCO stories I can tell you, man. So I think one of our worst, I'll tell you, probably my worst day in college. We're playing this just all around crappy team that shouldn't have any business with us on the field, because we were the best team in our conference, blah, blah, blah. And we get our asses kicked, like 2 out of 3 for the weekend series. After the game Sunday, and I remember I'm small town Georgia, so like still surrounded by the woods of this JUCO university. There's a train track right next to the baseball field, and then our football stadium is probably about a mile away. And so we get our ass kicked. We run like 10 poles right after the game, and Coach hops on his little John Deere that our head coach on his John Deere, and looks at our strength coach and goes, "Coach, they've got 10 minutes to meet you at the football field. And if they aren't there, they're fucking cut."
Oh, shit.
Oh, damn. Okay. I knew deep down that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to be a little conceited and cocky because I knew I was the best player on the team. Yeah, I was the best player on the team. So bottom line is, like, okay, whatever. But I still sprinted my ass off. Cut through the woods, got tore up through all kinds of thorn bushes, sprinting over there. We're waiting on him to get there. The gate's locked. We can't even get in. Strength coach looks at us. "You think I give a shit, boy? Start climbing." Like a 12-foot fence. I'm like, so then we went over there to the football stadium, did 100-yard sprints, did bear crawls, crab crawls, and then all kinds of other sprint work, and then had to beat him back to the baseball field before we could go shower.
Jeez.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
the life. Hey, and then you got to play the next day for, a double hitter.
And then you got to play Tuesday after a Monday, grind your ass off practice because you're running more and you're doing 800 more things to get your punishment.
So I asked, we talked to, like Des said, we talked to Tyler Ivey when he was playing JUCO, and every JUCO teammate that I've had, they swear up and down if their JUCO would have been 4 years, they would have stayed there for all 4 years. Obviously, you got drafted after your first year in junior college. Just looking back, if let's say the draft wasn't available, would you have stayed all 4 years?
I would have went for my 2 years, yes.
Okay, so 2 years.
I would have went for the full 2 years. I actually, funny story, I actually tried to go back after I got my signing bonus from the Red Sox. I got in and when I signed, I went down to Fort Myers, Florida for 2 weeks. But I signed an 07 contract in August of 06, so I couldn't play, which I understood. I could only work out because my physical took like a week to get through. So I literally could just work out in the gym. And then I had to sit around and watch a 4-hour baseball game in the Florida sun at 1 o'clock.
Shit.
Miserable, hating life, miserable. So I actually looked into, and I obviously had spent most of my signing bonus already.
Yeah.
So I looked into a family member who was pretty well off. I said, "Hey, look, if I can get this loan from you, I'll pay you back easily next year when I get redrafted, blah, blah, blah." Just because I would rather have more, I was going to have way more fun in JUCO than I was in pro ball. And my dad when I told my dad that, he said, "F no, you made this choice. You're going to deal with it." Okay, Dad.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I got it. So I went to spring training the next year, and the rest is history. So
what's the story you told us a little bit off air about Georgia, University of Georgia?
Yeah, so I'll tell you the full length of the whole story from all the way back to middle school. So 7th and 8th grade, I'm trying out. I think I went to third base both years because I was a shortstop third baseman. Not really the point. So I get cut both years from middle school, don't make the team. Get to high school. So 9th grade, made the junior varsity, didn't play. 10th grade, made JV again with the new coach of the whole program. And every year they had meetings with us to make cuts, and they told us what our role was going to be and blah, blah, blah. So I play the JV season, and then I get called up to the varsity team. Well, the coach is like, "Well, we're going to call you up and we want you to travel, but you're not going to play, so we're not going to give you a jersey." I said, "Well, you can kiss my ass and I'll go play recreational baseball."
Yeah.
And I turned in my jersey, and I guess he didn't appreciate that. And I didn't go. And so that was that. And he got fired that off season for that summer. And then the coach that came in my junior year is probably one of my top 3 influences in my life in the game. And he's still my personal hitting guy to this day.
It's amazing.
And he comes in, and I'm a shortstop, and he's watching me play summer ball for my dad's team. We're playing a pretty good team with a couple of my high school teammates on it. And I'm playing first. He watches me for 2 innings. He tells me this. This is his words, not mine. He said, "I watched you play the infield for 2 innings and thought, yeah, you'd be a fantastic shortstop for me, but you're going to right field." I went, "Right field?" right field's where you put the bad players, isn't it? You know, like this is high school baseball. Like in South Georgia, like we've got some really good pitching that don't give up a whole lot of hits. I'm like, all right, whatever. It's like, so our number one's going to pitch, and you're going to play center, and then our number two is going to start, and then you're going to play right. And I was our number 3 and closer. So whatever. I hated the outfield. I still hate it this day. It's boring as hell. There's nobody to talk to. I'm a chatty guy, which most people know.
I was a right fielder in college, so
and
I feel that. I feel that. Yeah.
You're away from the fans, and you're away from the fans in the infield. You know, if you're at shortstop or second, you ain't got nobody heckling your ass. Well, in right field, every stadium you're at, they're right there, and you can hear pretty much everything. So,
or they'll throw beers on you. Either that.
They will throw beers at you in Chicago and New York. But that's a different story. But yeah, so I thought it was boring, and I didn't really like him for it. But you know what? He goes, "You're my right fielder, and you're my number 2 hitter." Bottom line. All right, so he comes in, and I do my thing, and I win like regional player of the year, junior and senior year. The college I go to doesn't even want me yet. So I'm looking at junior colleges, like looking at 2 or 3 of them that are semi-interested, but they're not convinced that I'm not a good enough player. Mind you, I'm hitting 480.
Jesus Christ.
Like 15, 16 games into I hit 482 for the whole season. So I don't know what the hell they were waiting on. So I went and do that. We go to the Final Four both years, get beat by the state championships. We don't even get into those stories because they're heartbreaks. If you've never been walked off on a homer on your own field in high school, it's pretty shitty.
We lost to our district rival in the state semis to go to yeah, I know how it feels.
That's bad.
I know how it feels.
Was that Klein High School?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, Klein High School beat us.
God, dude.
Rough.
So Dez and I went to rival high schools.
Yeah.
So I went to Spring High School.
Even
he went
better.
to
So that's why our energy is so good, because we hate each other.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, pretty much. Good chemistry on air, but we just don't like each other.
Hey, that's how me and one of my best friends back home are. Georgia fan, and he's a Florida fan, so it works out great.
Shit.
Oh,
right,
perfect.
So I go to the visit at the college I end up going to, and I do really well. And he's like, "Yeah, you know, there's just not a full scholarship here for you right now." I'm like, "Okay."
For a kid that hit 480.
Yep. So I go to another JUCO, and I show out there, do really good, and the coach comes up to me post workout and goes, "I have a full scholarship ready for you right now." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm gonna wait until my baseball season's over in high school, because I want to focus on the playoffs. I don't want to have any kind of stuff surrounding blah blah blah." And so it comes around, we get in the state playoffs, and I go off again, still do my thing. And so the other guy that offered me the full scholarship comes back and says, "Hey, you know, we really kind of were hoping to get a word." And so I called the other college. I said, "Look, I'm about to sign with so-and-so. What's your play?" And he says, "I will call you tomorrow." And he called me the next day, and I had a full scholarship.
Oh, shit.
I go in, do all that. And then, you know, I do really good in college. Obviously, I'm only in my freshman year. I hit 461, was a first team All-American center fielder. Obviously all tourney team, all conference player, blah, blah, blah. Basically every award you can win without winning the junior college national championship. Get drafted, pissed off that day because I was told by 3 different teams I'd be top 10. So the Red Sox drafted me 17th round. I'm mad, get a $60,000 offer, turn that down immediately because that was the last year of the draft and follow.
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know that was drafts, and you could still sign after the signing date, blah, blah, blah. And then the same team had control of you for the whole year. So I go play in the wooden bat league in the summer, start hitting really some home runs, which I hadn't developed, which I only hit 5 homers in high school, mind you. So no power until I got to that summer league, started hitting homers. Red Sox come up, start watching me. I play against Team USA, and we're facing Ross Detweiler, who was lights out back then. And nothing against him now because I love Ross. He and I will go way back from that game. But we're playing guys like he started, Sean Doolittle's at first, Jamal Weeks is at second.
Jeez.
Matt Laporta's catching. Like just stud, like
so
9
dudes,
studs. Guys that had service time. Yeah. Like Julio Bourbone's in the outfield. Like disgusting guys. We lose 14-1. We have 5 hits. I have 3 of them, and I go deep off Detweiler. And so, like, every team had a scout there to watch Team USA, obviously. And then my future agent, who's my agent now, was there watching the game. And he comes to me after the game and says, Josh, you're about to get a real offer. You opened up a lot of eyes. I was like, all right. And so my area scout comes up to me and goes, hey, be ready. The Red Sox are going to offer you something next week. I guarantee it. I go, why do you say that? He goes, because as soon as you hit the home run, every team started writing notes down.
That is sick.
Okay. Sure enough, a week later, I get a $140,000 offer. And I told him I wouldn't take any less than 150. And then they came back and said, we can't do 150. And so I said, all right, give me 140. And this is like 3 days before college started, too. That was the best part. I was getting ready to go back to school. But what nobody knew, not even my parents, was I was going back to college on academic probation.
Oh no.
So if the Red Sox would have found that out, they'd have told me to have fun at school.
Yeah.
So that was a good story. So then you come around
man.
and I know I'm talking a lot. This is a very long story. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
So get to pro ball, not really thought of because there was like 4 guys that were drafted and signed a whole lot of money ahead of me. I started extended spring training. And then I go to low A and work my way up. Blah, blah, blah. But before we get to the draft, I got to rewind back to my Georgia Bulldog reference. That was the main focus of the story, and I got sidetracked. So before drafting, I was doing 4-year visits, and I got in contact with the Georgia Bulldogs. And I would love to obviously try to get my foot in that door after JUCO if drafting didn't get worked out. And so, okay, went up there for a workout, killed it, did some really good VP, great throws. Georgia coach David Perno, I will never forget his name, comes up to me to my face. He's an 19-year-old kid, and he just goes, "You're just not good enough for this team."
Oh my God.
What?
Oh,
Straight to your face.
Okay, straight in my face, like straight face, nothing, no emotion. Like, all right, whatever.
And this is your childhood team, right?
Oh yeah, at this point, not just that, like football. I'm more football dedicated than I am baseball there. Like, it wasn't a childhood dream to play baseball there. So I go back, this is before I got all my before the season started. So this is like before I got all my stuff. Well, he starts calling me in the summer when I'm playing in this wooden bat league, and he starts asking me about coming back. And I'm like, that's kind of weird, but I'll play with you. I'll play along with you. Blah. So the day I commit to the $140,000, he calls me that night, and he doesn't know I've committed verbally to signing. He goes, "Hey Josh, I'm just checking in with you." I was like, "Oh yeah, coach, how you doing, man? Had a great weekend, blah blah." He's like, "You getting any more thought to it?" I was like, "Yeah, I've thought, and I've pretty much come up to a decision." I said, "I'm too good to play for your team. You can kiss my ass. I'm going to play pro ball."
Oh shit! I bet that felt so damn good.
Yeah.
And then getting that signing bonus.
And it was great because I think in 2012, when we were in the playoffs, we were getting ready to play with Tigers, I did Jim Roma's Burning.
Yeah.
And I told that exact story. And my summer coach from that senior year was an assistant coach at Georgia. And they heard it and called my agent. My agent called me and goes, "Hey, just want to let you know that so-and-so called. And he told us word for word that we can't be having you going on public and national radio for shows like that and talking about the Georgia Bulldog program." I go, "You think I give a shit?" He goes, "That's exactly what I told him." He goes, I told him, "Do you think Josh Reddick gives 2 fucks what you guys think?"
That's freaking awesome.
And now that coach is coaching high school football. So.
Oh
yeah. Wow.
He had a great eye for talent, apparently.
Kid hitting 450, is not good enough to play at the D1 level.
Yeah. That's
I always told guys, and I say this with love because I love Gordon Beckham. He and I got along great ball player. And I said, guys, if I'd have went to Georgia, nobody would have knew who Gordon Beckham was.
Oh man,
That's that long story.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's
Holy shit,
powerful.
that's great. Yeah.
What's it like playing at Minute Maid Park in October? I mean,
Ooh.
obviously we've been in the stands. It's electric. Obviously, you came in right at the golden age. You get that contract. Actually, let's start with there first. You sign with the Astros. It's right before we make this run. You know, obviously a title, 2 pennants, all these division titles. Did you know going in that that's kind of where they were headed, the Astros, or?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, from being in the AL West, I was in the AL West for 9 years. So watching teams transition, you kind of get that feeling of what's going to happen. And obviously having all those high draft picks helps. So you got a chance to draft a lot of really good players, and they did. I think they did a fantastic job of drafting and developing their guys. But yeah, I knew coming in that this was a team that was going to be good, and I didn't know that they were going to be making the moves that they necessarily did. But they told me right out of the chute that, hey, we're going to offer you. We actually came out. I think they offered me $13 million a year, and other teams were at 12 a year. I was like, okay, well, that's easy because they're in Houston, they're in Texas, so there's tax saving right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I went back at him, I counted, I said, hey, can you guys give me a 4th year? Because I knew deep down that 4th year was going to give me my 10 years. And I wanted that security.
Right.
I said, and I try to be greedy like all of us are. And I said, can you give me 4 and 60? Kind of back, backload the back end. And they said, no, but we'll give you 4 and 52. And I said, perfect, I'll take it. But I knew coming in that as soon as I signed, they told me that they were trading for Brian McCann. So I right there was immediately in love with that. I'm a Braves fan, way deep down there, being from the South.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that signing. I was a fan of Brian. I watched Brian play in college, so I thought that was cool as hell. Playing against these guys, I've been playing against Altuve for at that point 4 years, and Springer and Correa and all those guys a better part of a couple of years. So getting to see these guys play on the other side, knowing how good they were there, I knew that it was just going to be another wake-up call playing with them. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, was realizing, man, Jose Altuve is a really good baseball player playing against him. Jose Altuve is a Hall of Famer playing with him. And so I think that helped me learn and realize that these guys were special, and knowing that this could be a team that I could compete, because being on the team that I was on, the Oakland A's were fire sailing that off season. So I knew we were going to be at a struggle point for a few years until those prospects got turned around. And, they were one of the teams that offered me a contract, which, I obviously respect and really wanted to stay there. And fans may not want to hear that, but, that was a place where I developed a home and a comfort. That's really one of the few things career, because you don't get that a whole lot. And then the other 2 teams offered weren't going to be competing either. So like I said, I want to win regardless of where I'm at and how old I am. And this was the best place for it. And obviously, we were a really good team, but I think we became that over-the-top championship team when we acquired JV.
For sure. What was that news? Obviously, it was at the last minute. As fans, we get the tweet. It's at the buzzer. Are you guys in the loop? Are you like us, where it's just like,
oh yeah,
oh shit, we got JV?
Oh yeah, we were group texting the whole time. The team had a group text going the whole night, just fired up. Rumors. Oh, we're getting him. Hell yeah, great, let's win it all. And then they say, no, we didn't get him. It's too late. Well, everybody's like, well, shit. Let's go win it, boys. We still got to win. There's still got a job to do. And then 2 minutes later, we're like, we got him.
Oh, shit.
So it was a little bit of a roller coaster. We were all stoked. I think we were all stoked outside of one individual, but I'm not even going to mention that name on this podcast or ruin your guys' day. And we all know who it is.
Yeah.
But we won't say his name.
Yeah.
I think he was probably the only one, but everybody else was stoked because we knew what we were getting. We had, a guy who had been there before, who had been an MVP and Cy Young Award winner. And now we had him and Keuchel and Lance and Charlie. We just had a great rotation. We knew that was good. That could be a team that could get us through it.
So then what was it like when you guys got the news that Garrett Cole was coming aboard?
It was kind of weird because our group chat wasn't as exploding, I think, that day. I mean, we were obviously excited, very excited, because we knew we were getting, but I don't think that we even knew the Garrett Cole we were getting, because Garrett Cole wasn't who he is now.
Right.
When we first got him, he had to get his work in, but we were obviously very excited because we got him in the off season, right?
Right. Yeah, I think it was like a January or
Yeah,
February acquisition.
Yeah. So we were all kind of out of our loop with chatting with each other like that. But once we got it, I think we all became pretty excited. Obviously, we knew what we were getting, and with him coming over and working with Strami, I think we all knew what the potential there was going to be. Especially with that rotation, it just makes you get a little bit more frustrated when you don't get over that little speed bump we didn't get over in 19, because I think we all know that we should have won that.
Yeah. 18. So 18 and 19. And then early 2020, I was with Sports Talk 790. I got laid off because of COVID. So I didn't get to go to games like Dez and be just a fan. I was covering the games. And
right. It's fun when you're the drunk guy in the stands doing content.
Doing that aspect of it, just being a fan is kind of what I missed, being a part of the sports media world. But in 2018, man, covering those games and seeing what the Red Sox had in that ALCS, obviously there was that bullshit call on the Altuve home run in right field by Joe West.
Yep.
And it just seemed like every bounce went towards the Red Sox. I mean, there was a ball, I can't remember who hit it, but there was a ball off the Green Monster.
It was JBJ, who was Mickey Mantle that series.
Yeah, balls were taking, taking weird bounces off of the Green Monster, going towards the Red Sox. Everything just went right for that team in 18. And then you fast forward to 2019.
That's what it takes.
Yeah, and that's what Dez and I have talked about on our podcast here on Beyond the Diamond, is just what team is going to hit their stride going into October. Will one of the wild card teams catch fire, just like we're seeing with the Cardinals against the Dodgers tonight? And can they continue that momentum? And then there are going to be a few plays in each game that are going to win you ball games and really get you into the World Series, like we saw last night.
Absolutely.
Aaron Judge gets gunned down at the plate on a double off the wall by Giancarlo Stanton. Like, that turned the momentum back towards the Red Sox. So
exactly,
2019, man, was something different. Again, there was that Nationals team that caught fire in September. They win the wild card. Everything goes right for them. And then obviously, there's some things that happen in the World Series. Greinke pitches his ass off, gets taken out. Will Harris makes a damn good pitch. Howie Kendrick, closes his eyes on a slider down and away, hits it off the foul pole. I mean, just I guess
a missed catcher's interference call.
There's that as well.
Cost us a run.
Yeah, just these little things.
The strikeout on Soto. I mean, Greinke diced, or it was Soto that he punched out after the Rendon home run that they never called?
Yeah.
Led to a walk.
Because
that was the walk.
Yeah,
the walk. Yeah. Yes. And that's what, I mean, just like these little moments in each game that turn momentum. And Dez and I are big believers in momentum in baseball. So I guess to segue into our playoff talk, when you look at this Astros team, what do you think they have that can get them to the World Series? And what do you think will keep them for the World Series? So one positive, one negative, if you will. From your eyes.
I think the positives are, they've got the experience of the playoffs. They've been in the big games. They've been in, some have been in 2 Game 7s of World Series. A couple of them have been in some elimination games that give you that feed to get back and that hunger to grind it back out. But, they're a championship team. They've got everything they need to get in there and win, I think, with the given teams that have been in it. So I think the Stros are a heavy favorite. They've got the championship team they need to win it all, and they got everything top to bottom. Maybe a few rookies that might be a little bit of a question mark for them. But Luis Garcia's done a fantastic job pitching for them this year. And I know that their bullpen can get shaky at times. So if they can keep their bullpen together, I think that was the rough patch they hit not too long ago when they were struggling, as their offense and their pitching weren't doing very well. But I think once their pitching and the bullpen stays online, I think the offense is going to carry them as far as they need to go.
Do you think this home field advantage, and we had Ben Verlander on from Fox Sports, and we were talking about this last year, the White Sox, they fought Oakland. They were the scrappy young team. They had that core kind of, and now they're making this push. And obviously all the pundits have their biased agendas against the Astros. So they're kind of angling where the White Sox are going to beat the Astros. But like you said, this lineup has so many at-bats in October you have to account for that. And now this crowd, I mean, because last year there was no crowd in the playoffs. I think that's a big X factor no one's talking about, because there's going to be a oh shit moment, I think, for a lot of these young White Sox players when they come tomorrow night to the stadium or afternoon, because we have a 3:00 game. But do you think the crowd and home field advantage has a X factor, so to say, to it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime you can have any slight advantage in this game is going to help you out. It's probably one of our biggest things last year, playing with no fans and not being able to experience that, because obviously that's one thing that we had over Tampa was a fan base, and they just can't sell out a game regardless of what game it is, and it sucks for those guys as players to not be able to experience a sold out crowd, at least more than twice a year. So it's definitely something that I think could play a big factor when you get guys that haven't been there, that may be trying to do too much and want to hit that big home run, and have that all they can hear is the buzzing of everybody in the stadium making the same sound at once. They probably don't know how to handle that thought process and how to slow the game down at that point. So I think experience plays in that factor, but I just think overall the way they've handled them this year, I think the Astros did pretty good handling the White Sox this year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they've got the track record as well. So I think a lot of things play into that, and starting the series here at home, I think just gives them that much more of an advantage.
Yeah. And then also, the thing that we talked with Ben Verlander yesterday about is the Astros have faced every raucous crowd imaginable this year.
Yep.
I mean, Des and I went to the series when they played a midweek set against the Colorado Rockies. We sat through the snow game, and there are jackasses screaming at the Astros and Carlos Correa and Alex Bregman about being cheaters and this and that. And we're like, you guys are Rockies fans. I mean, who hurt you?
Brother, my first game in the big leagues this year was at Dodger Stadium.
Oh God.
The D-backs called me up for the game 3 of a 3-game set, night game in Dodger Stadium. I'm like, are you kidding me? You couldn't wait one more damn day to call me up?
Yeah.
And it was because I think it was like a Thursday or some from Thursday night, but that place was, I've never had a whole stadium from foul pole to plate to foul pole going cheater the whole time.
Does that fire you up?
Yeah, that's what I was going to
use it as juice.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
No, you know what? It doesn't even bother me because I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's another thing.
And they're all hypocrites because we all look at.
Sure.
I mean, they're hypocrites because there's been things that the Dodgers have done plenty of times more than what we have done, what we did. That's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that other teams have done stuff and they just don't bring it out. And they haven't. The only reason they haven't got caught is because they don't get told on.
Yeah, right.
They don't have a snitch, and and it's even more hypocritical because you have 3 players on that team who were on the 2018 Red Sox when they got caught cheating with an Apple Watch.
Yeah,
you're cheering and you're praising one of the best players in baseball who was on that team, but yeah, you're calling me a cheater and I didn't even use the damn thing, and there's reports saying I didn't use it.
Yeah, our guy Tony was the one that logged it all. Yeah, and it shows that you did it.
I've told them.
We had Evan Gaddis on with our guy George, who runs our Astros across the globe. He's over in the UK, and Evan really gave us a lot of insight on stuff like that. And he kind of alluded to the same thing that we've already pretty much known, but you just said it. There were other teams that were doing either similar things or more in depth, less in depth, but kind of trying to find. It's the hardest sport. You got to find an edge. You have got, if you're not trying to find a competitive advantage in the game of baseball, then what the hell are you doing? Because I went to
stealing signs. Stealing signs has been in the game for too long for anybody to even think of. It's just a matter of how they're getting them and how they're relaying them.
Right. We did it in college. We had bullpen guys that would come into our dugout and they would sit together as a team and they would try to pick the third base signs or the guys in the dugout, whatever it was. And we had a system that we used, and that was small time college baseball. You mean to tell me that these guys at the big league level, with all the analytics, all the cameras, all of every piece of technology at their fingertips, and you're not trying to do some stuff? Come on now. Like, that's just such bullshit.
We all know there were guys in college that had one job every day, that was to watch the coach sitting on the ball bucket, give him the bucket,
pick him up.
That's it. Exactly.
What is this?
Yeah.
What's he starting with? What's he finishing with?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the second day of a 3-game set, you already know what's Hey, let's go, Josh. Here we go. Let's go. You
had first name, last name, whatever,
Come on, Red.
Yeah.
Oh, fastball. Got it.
Yeah. I got to ask about the Speedo. I know we're running out of time. was that you? Did we lose a bet? Is that something that's just?
No, that was on me. You know what's funny is I actually had that in 2016, and I would just wear it around the clubhouse for shits and giggles in Oakland.
Yeah.
And then when I got traded to the Dodgers, ironically, I wore it for all of our celebrations there, but obviously not as much traction there because you had way cooler guys that got interviewed out the trade, you know, after blah blah blah. So I just hung out in the corner with it, and because it wasn't, you know, I wasn't a big player on that team as other people were, but when it came around to the Stros, it was just an impulse thing. I just I had it in my locker. I wore it a couple of times, and then I think I probably looked at some guys and said, "What if I put the Speedo on?" And I'm sure they said, "You won't." And I said, "Well, you don't know me enough." Heck with it, and it became a hot item. So it was pretty fantastic.
What about the because you know when I was in, so that was the coolest thing about, you know, my sports reporter job was with 790 was getting to be in y'all's clubhouse for those locker room celebrations from 2018 and 2019. And there were some times where I literally would interview you, and you were in like some leotard looking. Is it a Goku? Is that what it was? Like the Goku?
Yeah, my Goku, my Goku. It's a wrestling singlet.
Yeah. So I would see you in that, and then you always had the wooden bat cup thing or whatever, mug or
the Lumberland people.
What would you have in there? Just beer?
I don't drink beer. I don't drink beer. The only time I drink beer is when we celebrate. So I think it's one of the most disgusting things to drink on the planet, no matter what brand it is. But vodka Red Bull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would have you being from the South, I would have said bourbon or whiskey, you know, or a little bourbon or whiskey, whatever.
I experienced in everything alcohol in my 20s, my early to mid 20s. I would say I probably got pretty wild. Not that I was an alcoholic, but when I went out, I have been drunk on a lot of different things, and I got tired of throwing up other stuff that tasted horribly coming back up.
Yeah.
So I kind of eliminated a lot of stuff. So now I'm usually Tito's vodka.
Yeah.
The Veuve Clicquot champagne. I love the champagne.
Heck yeah.
And then every now and then, one of my big go-tos was Di Serrano. It was an Italian liqueur.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like an almond liqueur, and you mix that with Coke, and it tastes just like a cherry Coke.
Oh
wow.
Yeah.
And then one last thing on the you know, on the you know, advantage in baseball. There was a report that came out, you know, you were in that leotard or the wrestling thing. And there was a picture supposedly of you you having a buzzer. Yeah. But it was literally a piece of confetti. And I'm not going to say the sports media group that ran with that stupid fucking story, but man, I got to ask you about it. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
You're fresh out of the clubhouse. You're getting interviewed on the field. Confetti's falling. Confetti sticks to your sweaty body.
Champagne, baby. We're chilling. We're vibing.
Yeah. You know, just vibes, man. And then this dumbass in his mom's basement runs this story, helps him catch clout, honestly, and they ran with it. And honestly, it caught fire with national media. And national media even ran with it. So just like
Carlos Beltran's niece.
Yes, there's that too. There's that as well. I mean, just the stupid shit, man. But just how, I mean, obviously you guys as players try to block out things, but at the end of the day, we're all human. So I know you saw it and you see it, right? So just what's your take on that whole just the dumbassery of all that?
Well, you know, my wife and I had a blast with that because we popped off on so many fans after the season's over about that on Twitter and Instagram. But you know what's funny is, I wear this necklace. Actually, a new necklace now. It's a rope necklace now, not a chain. It was a gold chain and my kids' names on it. So that's what that was, and it was a piece of confetti, obviously, and you know all kinds of factors play into that. You know, it's like, one, if I was wearing a buzzer, do you think I'd be stupid enough to not take it off before I came back out on the field?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I wasn't. I wasn't wearing one anyway. And I said, yeah, it's a piece of confetti. Your team wouldn't know what that was like if y'all were any good. But that's all that was. So yeah, like in the whole Altuve thing, I said, guys, if he had one, he did a damn good job of keeping away from everybody. But knowing how Altuve is, there's no way.
Yeah.
And the reasons that came out was his ugly tattoo, no undershirt. Like everything he said was true because his wife doesn't like it. She hates his tattoo. She's like, I don't want everybody seeing you with your shirt off, which which if we're married, we all got to oblige to what
Hey.
our wives say, don't we?
Oh,
Happy
yeah.
wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
Damn right. Yeah.
So I think that's literally all it was. It's like he ripped it off one time, or we ripped it off and she didn't like it. So that's what he was doing. He was making sure we didn't rip it off. And if I was him, I probably wouldn't want the jersey I just walked off to go to the World Series getting ripped either. I want that thing ready to be framed in 20 minutes.
Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was a shit show because then, you know, it was funny. My favorite part of that whole scene was me on the field. Is if you don't remember, I had a cigar in my hand.
Yeah.
And I was with David Ortiz. And I can't remember who was on the field. And then A-Rod was
Frank
on.
Thomas.
Yeah. Frank Thomas.
It might have been Frank. So if you remember earlier in the series, they both said that they had the Yankees beating us or something. I can't remember who it was. They was like, go ahead and light the cigars or something. It was a cigar reference to earlier in the series. And I got out there, I said, hey guys, just want to let you know, there's no smoking for you two in my house. I'll smoke this and lit that up. So me and Dip Poppy go way back to my Red Sox days, but
Yeah.
I just thought that was a great little jab from that whole scenario.
We're wrapping up. What's the craziest thing you've heard out in the outfield and right field? I'm not saying like, you know, the FUs and the beer throws, like
Okay.
just for something that stops you in your tracks, like, oh shit.
The one thing that's really, really probably makes me think about it, and I hate to give them credit because I hate going there just for the simple fact of the stuff they say and the age range they say it. But my first weekend ever, so it's probably my first weekend in the big leagues of my career. So 2009, I'm in Red Sox and we're in Yankee Stadium. I'm playing left field. And as we all know, with my last name, there's plenty of creation there. Well, from the sixth on, it was like they were going it was Josh sucks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, space out your name.
Yeah.
Which I've heard before. But the next inning, it was Reddick blue ball.
Oh.
And they started clapping like crazy. And I couldn't do nothing but stop and laugh because I've never heard. I really literally had never heard that one before, and I haven't heard it to this day since. So that's probably one of the ones that really do stand out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
And then I did see. So that's one of the other things that I love about seeing you on Twitter, and especially with your wife too, is you guys clap back at people, and I think that's always kind of my fear. Is I was and I'll say it, I was very, very critical of Miles Straw early in the season. And my worst fear was like, oh my God, I'm not a big league player. I probably shouldn't be talking out of my ass. But my worst fear is like, he's going to clap back at me and then everyone's going to shit on me. Didn't happen, thankfully. And I'm glad Miles got out from, over to Cleveland. He played well in Cleveland. He kind of turned around his season. So good for Miles Straw. He shut me up finally. But there was some stuff that I saw on the timeline. I think it was last week where I think you did a Q&A or something like Ask Red or something like that. Yep. And someone tried to say that you were lying about people throwing beer on you or a beer bottle at you or a beer can in Yankee Stadium playing right field.
There's pictures of it.
There is. There's like literal
legit
photos.
Pictures, and you can make out the blue mountains on the Coors Light bottle.
Yeah.
And I told him, that the biggest concern is I don't care if you throw it at me, but these things are flying from the second, third deck of Yankee Stadium.
They're coming in hot.
And not only that, they're not empty.
Right.
They're not all empty. So not everybody has a good arm, as we've seen people try to throw baseballs back. And all it takes is a slippery throw and you hit a damn 5-year-old in the head with a half full beer and you got brain damage.
For sure.
Like that's the biggest concern is others like little kid safety. I don't care if you had the 40-year-old man down there yelling F you to me.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the 5-year-old kid who's just hanging out enjoying the game with his dad.
Right.
But we all know Yankees fans, they don't give a shit.
Yeah. They're on the couch.
They don't give
They're
a
on the
shit
couch now.
Yeah. Did you watch the game last night?
No, be honest, I don't really watch much baseball unless I'm playing.
Wow.
Which is might be bad, but I every time my team gets eliminated or done from the playoffs, I don't watch baseball.
Yeah, I mean it's like any other job, right? Like I'm not gonna go if I'm an accountant, I'm not gonna watch other accountants do work. I did my stuff.
It is, and obviously I check the Twitter feed and everything. I keep up with it that way, but I'm not sitting down and watching the baseball game at all. Not that I want to, but I can't really do that. I have two-year-old twins that don't go to bed till 11 o'clock, so I'm pretty busy most of the day anyway.
Yeah,
Garrett Cole only lasted 2 innings.
I
not
did see
pitch
that.
well. Yeah.
He did not do the job for a $40 million pitcher.
We did this last thing this past couple of weeks. We did got in the cages and we took some of the content guys that hit off 100 miles an hour. The machine, we put the jug machine up and put that bad boy going. And we play college ball. I saw 105 years ago. I haven't seen competitive pitching, right? But I couldn't tell you, Red, how many people were like, "Oh my God, it's that fast." I was no shit, it's that fast. These guys are seeing this.
It's
100.
Yeah, so the cages that we went to, the pitching machine was like between 43 and 45 feet away, and we cranked it up to 80. So that's the equivalent of like 102. And we looked, I mean, me and Dez and another guy made it to the finals. I won it, by the way. I have a championship belt. So yeah. But yeah, we like seriously, people commented on our YouTube video and our Twitter video about like, wow, we see these Apollo guys not being able to swing. Man, is it really that fast? Like, no shit.
Yeah, these guys face this every day.
Go out in your car and go 100 and look out the side window, and we'll tell you how fast it is.
Yeah. Josh, thanks so much, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking all the time with us today. And hopefully we get you on soon again and maybe shoot some content this offseason.
Yeah,
hang out.
Yeah, if you have some free time this offseason and you're here in Houston, and if you want to come hang out with us as we do our next baseball challenge, it'll be some kind of fielding drill. Let us know. We'd love to have you out, man. We'll get you some merch and some Tito's vodka and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah. No, I live out in Crosby full time, so we're here.
Hell yeah.
Oh, cool. Good deal. Well, Josh, man, again, thank you so much for joining us, man. Have a happy weekend with your twin boys, and happy birthday to them, man. Thank you for the time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. This was a blast.
Awesome, Josh. That's Josh Reddick joining us on Beyond the Diamond podcast. That's going to do it. Astros take on the Chicago White Sox tomorrow, Thursday, in Game 1 of the ALDS. Special thanks to Josh Reddick. Dez, you got anything before we get out of here?
Nothing. Just love you guys.
Good deal. Again, thanks to Josh Reddick. That's going to do it for until next time. We'll see you guys later. Peace.